Several weeks have passed since the Smite World Championships in January. No prizes to give out, nor tournaments to be held. The world of competitive Smite was on hiatus. Teams have been in the lab preparing for the spring split, prepping their gods and testing their builds. Casters, studying notes, reviewing stats, but no stage, no lights, no camera, no action. That was all about to change as the spring split moved forward, but first, qualifying.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your SPL Season 2 qualifiers. My name's Tom F. Badger, joined here by the illustrious Scott Gandhi. How you doing, guys?
From North America, Cognitive Red, now known as Team Solo Mid. Reigning World Champions Cognitive Prime, now under the Cloud9 brand. And from Europe, SK Gaming, wearing the orange and black of Fnatic now, and Titan, the underdogs of Season 1. Everyone else will have to play for the right to join the SPL.
Oh, I'm so excited for this spring split. It's the first really show of what we can do in Season 2. All new graphics, some new commentary faces, more analysis coming through hopefully your way this split as well. And we got all these teams qualifying in for a chance to play in a really short, condensed first split that goes onto a LAN in Atlanta, followed by an event in Brazil potentially as well. So I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but we're working on that. So hopefully this video comes out after and we actually do it. But yeah, a chance to go play in Brazil potentially, and really all things told, it's another chance to kind of show the next step of where Smite's going. So really excited, big opportunity for us.
Games would be played and hearts would be broken in the SPL qualifiers. It wasn't exactly a friendly atmosphere, as there were only 6 available spots to fight over. It would come down to the wire, and fan favorites Team Eager, previously Team Dignitas, would suffer defeat. They would ultimately fall to Busters and Nomad.
This could be it, F-Dot. I think Eager's going to drop this game.
That's 3 deaths on the side of Eager. 2 members remain. They're not even looking at them, Brandon. They look right at the Titan, and the Titan dies, and Team Nomad takes over Team Eager.
With all the teams now qualified, each region was represented by 6 individual teams. AFK Gaming, Denial Esports, Cognitive Gaming, Enemy Esports, Cloud9, Team Solo Mid. And from Europe, London Conspiracy, TRIG Esports, Upcoming Stars, Titan, Team Dignitas, and Fnatic. These teams would go on to play in a 5-week split in an effort to find the best teams in the SPL. The top 2 from each region would get a chance to prove their worth in a LAN competition hosted at hi-rez Studios in Atlanta, Georgia.
I think the thing I'm most excited for the spring split is the change in format. In Season 1, we went with a best of 1, every team plays each other 4 times. Whereas this season, we have a short split in this spring split, so we're actually going to go a best of 3, which I think is going to yield the best teams possible. The team I'm looking forward to watching throughout this entire spring split is going to be Melly or Mariah. I know their team name's just awful, and no one can really pronounce it, but in the qualifiers, their solo laner, Cyclone Spin, who they recently picked up, looks fantastic. I'm expecting them to have that same level of dominance throughout the regular season.
Week 2 was the first time fans would see Worlds teams in action since January, some with a different lineup. Fnatic swapped mid and jungle positions, and AFK Gaming, previously Complexity, brought in Cyclone Spin, one of the up-and-coming players that would soon cement himself as a star in the Smite Pro League. One by one, teams would find themselves out of LAN contention, with the top teams locking in their place. It would boil down to one key game for North America, Cloud9 versus AFK Gaming. It was a hard-fought series, lasting 3 games. Cloud9 defended their championship status, while AFK tried to escape their perpetual third-place curse. If there was one game to watch this split, this would be it.
They're just tying up the loose ends. Allied finds Barracuda. Get your Volcanias ready, ladies and gentlemen, because the Titan is going to fall. AFK has defeated the world champions.
Spring split was pretty cool. What I liked is the qualifiers for it. There were a lot of teams competing for this spot. We had to limit down to 6, which, a team like Eager, who was thought to be an SPL team, couldn't make it. But, that kind of shows that, we are growing in the competitive scene, and all the games throughout the spring split were really good. It even ended on, the best matchup you can get. The 2 top teams in North America duking it out for the spot at LAN. One goes home, one goes to LAN. This LAN's unique, right? We have usually it's like a North American LAN, and then next week we have a European LAN. We're starting off with a multi-region LAN, so we have the top 2 teams from both regions playing together at once. Before we go into the LAN, we have the charity event on Thursday and Friday, where people are going to be in a dunk tank, they're going to be doing egg toss. Then we can do the All-Star match, where the community's going to vote who they think should be in the All-Star matches. So there's going to be a lot of fun, and we kind of get to go back down to our roots as hi-rez, where we're part of the community. We like to have fun with you guys, and you're going to see that this weekend.
Cloud9, the reigning world champions, would stay at home while AFK break that curse and head to Atlanta. The table has been set. Fnatic, Team Solo Mid, TRIG Esports, and AFK Gaming will be competing at the Spring Final LAN. Who will come out on top? The teams alone hold that answer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon. Welcome to hi-rez Studios here in Atlanta, Georgia. My name is F. I'm joined here to my left by Hinduman, Lazes, and Zayden. How you doing today, guys?
Pretty good. Fantastic. Not so bad.
Excellent. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. As we saw, we took a trip down memory lane over the entire spring split, and it's all down here to the end of the Spring Finals LAN. So here we are. We've got a couple of matchups for you today. One of them of which is a world championship rematch of the third place match. So it should be very interesting.
It really should. I mean, the third place match was really talked about a lot by EU overall. They feel like EU didn't perform to the standard we expect them to do as time goes on. So I'm quite surprised, really, that we're going to see a repeat so early on in this tournament.
It's definitely going to be exciting. But before we get into any of the details of the broadcast, let me tell you about something new that we're going to unveil. We've got a season pass for you guys. You take a look on the screen. 300 gems is how you get into all of the action. For 300 gems, right away, you'll unlock the frame and a couple of Xbalanque skins, both North America and Europe. In addition to that, you'll be able to use those 300 gems as part of your pick'em sort of situation, the new in-game SPL betting system. What happens is you'll be able to pick the team, the winner of the matches, and if you're right, you'll get a bunch of points. You'll also amass points for just using that frame while you play your own games. And at the end of the day, the points have to be worth something. So those points will eventually allow you to get skins, as the Kugel Khan skin, the Nemesis skin that you might have seen around the internet, and maybe even some more stuff. So definitely want to take part in that.
Oh, without a doubt. Who doesn't love new skins, especially when you can get more of them over the course of it? And, you know, a little bit of putting your luck on the line as far as getting points will probably be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm Mr. Fantasy, Mr. Statman, so I like to take a look at all that cool stuff. And this is almost cooler than fantasy for me. It's one day, you know, you tune in, you pick your team, and you're right or you're wrong. You get some points. Should be very cool stuff.
Just pick EU. Just pick EU. It's no problem. Pick EU. Not an issue. We'll win games.
Clearly, we're not biased here at hi-rez Studios.
I am. What do you mean? You're not biased at hi-rez Studios.
All right, so we've got some EU bias and some Challenger Cup bias. Fantastic. But right now, it's about the SPL. Let's take a look at the brackets for today. 2 exciting matchups. TRIG Esports and AFK Gaming will be the first matchup we're going to take a look at. And Fnatic versus Team Solo Mid, as we mentioned, will be a repeat of the SWC third place match. So very exciting things going on with that. TRIG versus AFK will be first. So what's a quick roundabout? What are you looking forward to the most out of that matchup, Les?
Of which one? I'm so sorry.
AFK versus TRIG.
AFK versus TRIG. Well, Cyclone Spin. Cyclone Spin is like the big selling point of AFK Gaming because he is technically the guy who carries on that team. You hear Ally talking all the time saying, just give me to 30 minutes and I'll carry you guys. But until then, it's Cyclone, Cyclone, Cyclone. Weekend's a really great player. You know, so is Incon and, of course, Kiki, but I really think they depend on Cyclone the most to carry.
I mean, 70% win ratio as well for AFK Gaming. Pretty consistent, honestly, to get that high up as well. So, as a whole, their team, like you said, Cyclone, very important.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. Cyclone definitely one of the more important characters. You saw him really become a part of this team this season. Beyond that, we've had a little bit of changes, and Kiki moving over to the mid lane, that's where I'm going to be looking at. He's a new mid laner, and a lot of times, at least as when I watch the Challenger Cup, those fresh to mid lane people just don't do too well.
Well, you know, I can speak from personal experience, but, you know, I had a pretty easy transition. So did Kiki, because he did come from solo lane. So he played a lot of mages. He actually played some janky mages as well, like Aphrodite, for example. Right. Once in a while, he does pull out the Aphrodite, but Isis, I think, is his main selling point in middle lane. Yeah. He loves the push, he loves the stun, and he loves the CC.
Yeah, jokes aside, he's really worked out well in that middle lane. It's actually interesting. These days, really, mages can't play in the solo lane. Because if you don't have a hog, you're going to get invaded. That seems to be the sort of jibe of Season 2. And that's exactly when this mage solo player moved over to the mid lane. So it was a seamless transition, it felt like.
Well, it may be seamless, but he's up against an experienced mid laner in TRIG Laner's Lobster right now. TRIG is an established team made up of 2 different teams that molded together. Here they are on your screens right now. And TRIG as a whole, very, very experienced lineup. That trio is very strong.
Lobster definitely the mid laner with some of the most experience here. You know, he's really, really known for his Agni play. You hear a lot of like Lobni come out when he picks that character, which, I mean, Laz has mentioned that Kiki plays a very, very good Isis. 8 times Kiki has played Isis in the spring, and he's won 7 with them. But as we mentioned, Lobster plays Agni, and that's going to be a tough matchup for that Isis. So we'll see how Trig's going to deal with how proficient Kiki is on that Isis character.
And it allows us. Now, you are also a player who does a lot of Isis himself. How worried are you about an Agni matchup?
Well, it's never fun as an Isis because, you know, he's got the bomb stun. He can just lay down the stun, then dash through it to guarantee it so he interrupts your 1, which is a ton of your damage, your actual escape. And, you know, fun fact, actually, off topic, I actually played with Lobster in the early beta days.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah, back before servers, you could choose NA or EU. And he's always just been a great player, man. He's always played Agni. He and I have been like the Agnis from the early days, and I'm really looking forward to this matchup.
Yeah, you can see the difference in the GPM, and really, GPM is a stat that will fluctuate with game length and farm, etc. But it's a decent barometer just to see how well that farm in the middle lane does. And 61 and 75, 461 and 475, they're close enough to really not be able to draw any conclusions. You know, when you see a huge disparity, that's really when you want to drive home that GPM stat. But they're very close here.
Absolutely.
They are in terms of gold, but like god pool wise, that's my big issue with this mid lane. Kiki's got a big transition to this mid lane. His god pool that he's been playing with hasn't been that actual strong. I mean, Lobster plays Agni, plays Raw. His god pool's been around for a long time. He can play other things as well. We saw during the fun parts that we had Poseidon. He was picked up there as well.
Yeah, speaking of God Pool, we're actually going to take a look at one of the larger God Pools in the scene. Cyclone Spin in that solo lane that Lazarus was talking about earlier. Cyclone Spin versus Xayah. This is something that a lot of people have their eyes on.
This is a big one. It's top killing player facing off against the player with the least number of deaths.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody is going to be losing that stack going into this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on the line right now, and as we said, on the North American side, Cyclone Spin is sort of thought of as the new oh my goodness player, right? I wouldn't say he came out of nowhere, because for the avid viewers and the people at home that have really followed, they saw him on Fat Chunks Assemble really go above and beyond his own team. Right? And now he comes on, he's on a big high-profile team like AFK, and now it's a different story, and Xayah has just always been that guy. Either he's playing Raw or just reinventing things. One of the first Bacchus solos, and now Bacchus is known as one of the best solo laners. So a lot of old-school talent and new innovation, but both of which have wide god pools.
I mean, honestly, with the solo lane as well, we've got probably 4 of the best solo lanes in the world in this tournament this week from both North America and EU. As time goes on, it's very, very strong for them. I mean, they're very, very good gods overall. I mean, Lassis, honestly, from the solo lane, you've got Toli there. He's been there for a while. You've had Shing in that role before as well. What are you looking for in a solo laner?
Well, in a solo laner, you're actually looking for good rotations. Timely rotations, too, because you want to be able to clear the wave. You also want to be able to rotate efficiently to help your team out. If a Gold Fury does come up and you want to, secure it, sometimes you will have to forfeit your tower. And most of the times, it's actually worth it because, you can get that early gold. The Tier 1 tower isn't that important very early on. And like I said, just a lot of rotations.
Yeah, it's all about the timing for the solo laner. A lot of intricacies, as you said. It's really the gamble, and that's probably my favorite point that we've brought up so far. Sometimes it's worth losing the Tier 1 tower, both in map pressure and stuff. You got to give up to gain a little bit sometimes. So that mentality of the solo laner, really understanding just how much you got to give up to really gain, is the true thing.
Well, and over to Fnatic as well, which will be popping up on your screens momentarily. Fnatic, along the way, will be competing this weekend as well. Fnatic, the boys there, went to Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't do as what everybody expected them to do. Everyone was favoriting them to get to one of those top 2 final spots. It was Titan that ended up pipping to the post for that one. Poseidon, obviously, you get to see a lot of EU, as time goes on with the challenger scene things. And what do you feel about, the Fnatic boys over here?
They have probably what is considered to be one of the most seasoned duo lane combo with both Badger and
Reels.
They've been playing together for over 2 years now at this point. Very, very experienced. I expect the communication is going to be right on. And their stats and performances together as well, pretty good.
One of the things that I really have noticed about Fnatic this time around is before they were known as a mediocre online team, and Lanimals was brought out a lot. They just go insane because Reals and Maniac are absolutely just loud characters, really generals of their team. But they've really brought up their online play this year. They really have come from a middle-of-the-pack team to sort of the top to find themselves here at the LAN. And I want to see, has the LAN performance also gone up? Because if it has, they're going to be a very, very scary team for their opposition today, which will be TSM.
Yeah, TSM's profile on your screens right now, and as you can see, games played 12, win rate 75%, KDA 4. Wow. But honestly, lasses, overall, a lot of people have spoke about TSM not being the same consistency they once were of last season. Do you feel the same, or is it just like the same old TSM you expect?
Well, here's actually where I bring up the leapfrog effect.
Okay.
You know, if we go back a little bit, we were Team Dignitas once upon a time, and you know, we did pretty well for ourselves, and we would always go against COG. These guys came out of the woodwork, made a team. They made a great team. They worked hard, and eventually they overcame everybody. And you know, they performed really well on LAN. They performed really well against us, made us pretty much fall all the way back down. And you know, we're now hypothetically hoping that we can perform the leapfrog effect and you know, get back up there. And I think maybe they did get a little complacent, but I think they're starting to understand that they have to really work hard to get back to where they were and you know, maintain that top status.
Yeah, we've seen some interesting stuff come out from Team Solo Mid. Divios at one point, really the perennial solo laner. And he sort of had a downward, not spiral, but a downward trend towards the end of the season, really peaking up when bringing the Guardians into the solo lane. So Divios sort of, I don't want to say he got complacent. I'll let you say that. You're the player. But he definitely did have a sort of the team had an attitude shift. And then once they noticed that they weren't where they wanted to be, you notice some innovation, instantly out comes the Sobek, out comes the Hades, innovation comes out, and Divios is back on top. So that'll be a very interesting, again, looking at the solo lane. These spring finals really seem to be about the solo lane.
It will be. It will be indeed. And the one thing to note as well, Xaylia is the opposite of that. Xaylia, very aggressive. Nemesis plays those anti-Guardians, which is going to be an interesting one to see that between those two gods, you know, those two players overall, Divios and, you know, the Xaylia as well. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, we could talk about the solo lane all day,
really
but why don't we take a look over at the Hunter lane on the complete other side of the map. Your ADC is right up here, Snoopy Man, who did a good job against Adonis, and Reals X in the real stuff. So this is going to be an interesting matchup for sure.
Yeah, Reals has definitely stepped it up. One of the higher KDAs, I believe. Was it the top KDA?
He is top KDA.
Top KDA. So definitely up there. So you have to watch out for him, especially once he gets rolling. Once you hit about that 10-15 minute mark or so, when you get that Xbalanque online, you can really start to look box back and forth. That's when you have to watch out for him. He's going to start really getting online.
Yeah, Real seems to be a character that likes to help out from the outside and then come on in. We noticed when he played Cupid, which was more of an initiated hunter, he didn't really do too hot. He's known for having at least 7-8 kills a game. Wasn't really able to do that with Cupid. When you see him play characters like Rama and Xbalanque, what happens is the team fight's happening. He comes in from the side, sort of makes things happen and cleans up. That's where he gets all those kills. So really got to watch out for him on the tail end of these team fights. That's what he's going to be looking for.
Snoopy across the way, though, we didn't mention it during him, but Snoopy overall, he's not one of these top kids. He's not flashy. He just does his business. And he's part of the team. You know, he gets a lot of assists for his team because he supports it. Lasses, you've played against him, you know, probably multiple times. Is that how he kind of comes across? Because that's what his stats kind of read.
Well, absolutely. And yeah, the stats actually don't do Snoopy any favors, unfortunately. But the guy is an incredible player. He can play Vulcan in the duo. He can. I'm sure he could play freaking Cupid. Or I'm sorry, Mercury, whatever. He did that before, and oh man, it was irritating. But this guy, he brings a lot to the table. Very well team-oriented, and just honestly, the whole entire team plays great together. And so I think that's where I find stats to be a little irrelevant sometimes.
I completely agree. One of the things that I really like shifting around as we take a look at in the jungle guards and twigs is how the team solo mid will really rotate in and out with what they want to do. You mentioned that Snoopy would want to play mages in the hunter role. Well, then Boosh will play a hunter. It's really no big deal. And it's all because of the consistency of this jungler Gars. He's known for Thor, but he can really bring out the Hun Bats. Very, very proficient Hun Bats player. So in general, Gars is looking for a character that he can carry with, but also help his team out. So he always has that team mentality.
Yeah, Thorgars, though, that was a big thing back in Season 1. Season 2, he had a lot of opportunities where he could actually pick that up, and he just let that one go.
I mean, the thing about Degars as well is that he's the team leader for that team. He's the shot caller for the most part, and he does all the picks and bans for them as well. As that one was telling me this earlier, that he's all about that. Captain Twig is having the rougher time of the Fnatic lineup in this transition to the jungle from the mid lane. Zero seems very established there. Twig seems to be all about the single target assassination. He doesn't play these team fight orientated assassins like Hun Bats. He's generally for the one kill that he's really looking for.
Yeah, which is definitely, it works out for his team. He plays things like Arachne and things like Cirquette, which obviously do very well. Cirquette, not exactly a low-tier pick, so definitely something to look out for. Different play styles in the jungle, team-oriented rather than 1v1 assassin, but still something that can see success. Our first match is going to be that AFK versus TRIG, so we're going to get ready for that one. Any last thoughts about that matchup?
Ooh, well, USA.
Honestly, with USA, as always, they always stick together, these like USA. I actually feel like EU, honestly, has a real shot with this. TRIG is an established team. They played very, very well. They were the #1 seed coming out of Europe, and there's a good reason for that. The transition of both those two teams of old TSM and old Fnatic coming together. So weird with all the name changes. But yeah, those two coming together caused so many issues for the EU scene in general because they were such a strong team just straight off the bat.
Closing statements, Aiden?
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I know AFK, they've been playing a lot of different gods. They were Lack and Scrim partners for a while. I'm going to give that one over to the other guys.
See, this is why he's with me casting, because he just falls in flow. So I mean that one on my angle is like EU's very, very strong at the moment. I think NA and EU like underrate each other for the most part.
Yeah, might be interesting. And so that's the AFK versus TRIG situation right now. This is what the players are going to be playing for. That is the Spring Finals Trophy 2015. Of course, it all comes down to the hammer out in SWC, but right now, that's the trophy that teams can take home. It's very, very shiny, almost fish-shaped.
Yeah, I mean, prize pool as well. Is it 20,000 for first place after?
Yeah, it's definitely a big chunk of change. $20,000 for first place, $60,000 in general, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot is on the line for these teams, and not just AFK versus TRIG, but Team Solo Mid versus Fnatic will be our second matchup of the day. So in general, what I'm going to be looking for at Fnatic, I'm looking for that LAN presence. We know that Reels and Maniac are loud guys. We saw it in that video that we played before. It's going to be an interesting situation to see just how excited they come to LAN today.
I mean, to be honest, let's go right back to AFK though. AFK versus TRIG is going to be the first game of the day. We're not going to do a pre-game show. We basically can just have a few minutes now. We've got a bit of spare time to talk about that whole matchup between the two. Who are you feeling, lasses? Honestly, like just not take away the bias of USA versus EU.
Yeah.
You know, just straight up best of 5 scenario as well, which is something we don't necessarily see that often either.
Well, I still got to stick with my boys on AFK because, I know how hard they work. I've seen it, but, I can't really talk about TRIG too much because, I don't get to see the many of the game. But I've seen Cyclone. I've seen him, work very hard. As I said, it's all about his rotations. It's all about the early game rotations and how he really plays against, Maniac and... Maniac, right? Maniac. No, just making sure. But, I think once if he can pull out the win in the solo lane, I think they can have a really good shot.
Yeah, TRIG to me is really the organization shift from Team Solo Mid at launch tournament to now TRIG Esports. The organizational change has definitely changed, has definitely helped where this team is at. They have a lot of support, not just the 5 members of their team. We always harp on Zimstar here at hi-rez about what he does for that team as the manager, but now they have Dazer, who's actually here. Zimstar, unfortunately, is sick back at home, Sweden. Get well soon, buddy. But Dazer's here as coach. He'll be here as well. In addition to that, they have a dietitian, they have a life coach, they have a sports psychologist, they have a whole barracks full of people to help them out with their new esports team, and that's really got to help sort of the internalization because all you have to do is play at that point.
That's right. All you got to do is play. You just got to continue playing as best as you can for the time goes on. But then you've got to take away some of the side effects of having a dietitian. Just make sure you're eating healthy and staying healthy. Sometimes gamers as a whole, look at the size of me. Look at the gamers as a whole. Don't really look after themselves unless you're like lasses here and just work out.
Oh, jeez.
Forever and ever. We actually put him in a shorter chair as well, just to make me feel a little bit more confident in this situation here today.
I got you, man.
But I mean, obviously, diet-wise as well with you lasses. I mean, making sure you get the right sort of things going on, your healthy living. You make sure your lifestyle's in check for the gaming side of things. It's probably easier having those extra people in the background to help you out with those sort of things.
Absolutely. And if I actually may add on to that, Mama totally shout-outs. This gentleman, he wakes up, cooks his breakfast, before a tournament. We got all the guys moving to a team house here soon, and there's a few guys who wanted to step up and start cooking every night. So we're hoping to eat healthy and get on the same thing as TRIG is doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Actually, let's talk a little bit about that. Ullr, your new brand, you've recently picked up Kret as a coach. What's the difference? Because back when you were with Dignitas, you didn't really have a coach. Totali's always been the cerebral guy on the team, but having a dedicated coach, how does that change your team in general?
Well, it brings an unbiased opinion to the table. For example, we make this guy, we don't make him, but he jumps in on scrims 7 o'clock every single day. We stream them, he comments, and he actually coaches during the game saying, hey, we could have done this. What could we have done better? And as I said, it's just an unbiased opinion. He yells at Derek here, he yells at me. He kind of puts us all in our place, especially Zap Man. And you know, he's a genius, man. And I can't give enough credit to Cret, and you know, always a big thank you to him.
And the coaching side of the things as well, as you think about coaches as time goes on. I mean, more and more teams have started to get that side. You know, more and more coaches have come on the scene as time's gone on, and you're starting to see that every single team is picking one up.
Exactly. It's one of those big things. When you have that person to go ahead and kind of just look at the games after the fact, who didn't play in the game, wasn't worried about, oh, you know, you didn't do this for me when I called you to do this. Like, no, both of you messed this up. You weren't communicating enough back and forth. You really need that person on the backside of things, just kind of give you that unbiased perspective of the entire game as a whole, rather than just the, oh, you did this, he said, she said. He said see shit. Whatever, words are hard. There we go. Almost got it out there.
Challenger level casting right there.
Yeah.
There we go. Bring it out, son.
You got to do it.
The unbiased opinion is definitely a big deal, but also the bird's eye view. I mean, you get to see the whole thing. A lot of times, and I'm not calling you guys narrow-minded at all, but a lot of times players, tunnel vision is definitely a thing. You internalize your matchup because that's what you need to do. When you're playing against the best players in the world, you have to make sure everything's going on board. You place a ward so you don't get ganked by the jungle, but how much do you really know what's going on in the solo lane?
No, absolutely. Well, as far as the solo lane, I can't really comment much on. You know, totally. Hopefully has it unlocked. Oh crap!
Shots.
Yeah, no, I just had an opinion on this, but I honestly just went blank.
I mean, it happens.
Okay, I mean,
and that's exactly what I'm talking about. You'll be so internalized on your individual matchup that, you know, other things will happen and other things will come on, and you're too concerned, as you should be, with how many Doom Orb stacks do I have? How many Warlock Sash stacks does he have? Will my abilities do enough DPS to take him down in my burst? Will I be able to watch out my right side jungle? Do I have the etc., etc., etc. Meanwhile, your coach can say, hey, look, the Hunter's missing on the left-hand side. He's probably getting his red for the mid laner, but you got to watch out. You know, there's so many different variables in a mobile like Smite that having that coach to figure out all the X's and Y's while you're looking at the 1+2s, that really allows your skill ceiling to go from here to here.
And one thing to talk about as well is picks and bans is something the coach goes through. And picks and bans in this tournament especially, we bring it back to the tournament and ask, here, of what you're going to see is the picks and bans are going to be very important. I mean, at the moment in the meta assets, do you feel like there's certain picks and bans that have to be done?
Well, absolutely. I think, you know, we just talked about it. I think Cyclone needs to be banned out, man. As hunters, you can't really ban out hunters much anymore. There's the Xbalanque, the Cupid, the Ullr, etc. In middle lane, there's almost like there's way too many middle laners, and so I just kind of think the solo laners are going to have to kind of ban each other out and you know, focus on that.
Bye, Bellona.
Pretty much.
That one. I mean,
Absolutely.
That was discussing quite a lot as well about the fact that with the way picks and bans go, if you are first pick, you get the option to ban away their gods. However, when you're banning away their gods, the second pick team has to just ban away the big gods because you can't leave them up for first pick. So it feels like the first pick has the advantage on getting the stronger gods, so to speak, are the ones that you don't normally expect to go through.
Yeah, the first pick is always such an interesting situation because, as you said, you can sort of use your first pick as a third ban, or you can just get the OP god if that's what you really want to. And it really depends on not just your own team, but also your opponent, right, Lazarus?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sorry, I didn't know if my mic worked or not, so I was sitting here kind of curious.
Just keep messing around with it.
Yeah. But
as Allied would say, I'm curious to see if the mic's actually going to figure out how to work this time around.
Yeah.
So, you know, definitely interesting stuff coming out from the situation of coaches. We see a lot of teams new with their coaches. We see a lot of teams really playing with picks and bans. Some teams, really, TRIG, for instance, really likes to play the respect ban game where they want to ban out what their opponent does well with, whereas other teams really like to play the what's popular, what's good in the meta game right now. So it really is team dependent, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I think it is team dependent in a sense. But sometimes, you know, you got players like Zatman or, you know, from personal experience, these guys are speaking like, hey, I don't want to go against this god, so can we please ban him out? You know, for example, I'm playing Isis. I don't want to go against Agni.
Yeah.
You know, may not be detrimental to the team, but I don't want to go against it. So sometimes there are target bans too, just to help a single player out in the lane.
Exactly, and that's what it's all about, really. It's like if a single player doesn't have a good match, I mean, overall, there's some gods that people just don't like playing against. You know, as time goes on, you play against this god week in, week out. I can't deal with this guy again. Just take him out of the game, like Sylvanus is an example. And one thing about the matchup for the the TRIG one in the first game of the day is going to be this Hercules on Trix tank. There's been a lot of talk about this because Trix is 100% win ratio on this side and as well. Are we going to see a ban to it?
It's one of those things, Kiki as well with that Isis. You have to one of these things. Teams have to look at it because they played those gods so often and they do so well with them. You have to then ask yourself as well, are we certain beyond a shadow of doubt that we can in fact deal with that god? Do we let it through in game one and say, you know what, let's test the waters, let's see if we got this down, and then look to correct it as the series goes on? Or if things go horribly long, yes, we have to absolutely keep that god banned for the remainder of the series. It's one of those things back and forth teams should have been talking about a whole lot so far. And, well, not much time left. They should have these decisions made.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the other side of the coin. We talked a lot about bans when there's a situation where you don't want to play against a particular god, but then there's the non-ban when you do feel confident. And I always bring it back to old Team Dignitas. Zeus at the time, back when it's still stunned in the ultimate for some strange reason, 3-charge detonate, you're stunned. It was banned 100% of the time. I actually named a talk show ban Zeus because it was just banned out 100% of the time. And Dignitas got so confident playing against it that you guys just didn't ban it anymore, did you?
No, we were actually pretty confident about it. And back in the launch tournament, and I recall it exactly, we went against Team Solomid.
Yep.
And that was the TRIG guys now. And I remember playing Tier, and I just was like, man, I'm going to camp this Zeus all game. And that's exactly what I did.
Yep.
So I think you have to have a certain respect for these gods, of course, but if you can find how to play around it, you don't, and not having to waste a ban, it's great.
Exactly. That's really one of the more interesting things out there, whether you want to ban or not ban, depending on just how strong you are. And strength is what we're going to see these two teams play against. We have AFK versus TRIG coming for you right now, and that's what we're going to take a look at. So, without further ado, let's get the games underway.
hi-rez Kel here, and we are at the SPL Spring Fling. Man, it's going to be really hype. We got some ridiculous games going on, and maybe a few other surprises.
I'm very excited for the charity event. This is the first time I've actually ever been a part of a company that actually does charity work, so being a part of it is really humbling for me.
The Spring Fling has been awesome so far. We're doing a bunch of good stuff for charity here, raising money for cancer awareness.
So far we've had just tons of peppers and so much fun. I'm really excited for the finals starting this weekend.
Spring is awesome. I hope we do a lot more of this. It's really good to meet all the players and do a lot of stuff with the players for charity, and it's for a great cause, and it really helps everything out.
I want to thank everybody in the community for joining us and donating, having a good time with us. Seriously, this is such an awesome event. Thank you so much. You surpassed our expectations by far. And then this weekend we have another event, which is the SPL Spring Finals with the top two teams from both regions playing. Can't wait for that, and I hope you're there to join us as well.
Welcome to the Spring Finals, everybody. I am Gandhi, joined by Jeff Hinla as well as DM. We are finally into the tournament side of things. DM, I'll be honest though, I was really looking forward to pieing you more.
You stop.
It was... We've had a lot of fun time here so far, but now it is finally time to get into business, guys. We have TRIG Esports taking on AFK Gaming. DM, I'm going to start it off with you. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, both teams look really strong. Allied was my top pick for Hunter coming out of the spring split, guaranteed. I mean, the way he has played has been incredible. Xaylia from this weekend alone looks stronger than the other solo laners, so I think we have pretty close to an even matchup.
Jeff, what are your thoughts going into this one? You lost to AFK, unfortunately, but now you find yourself here hanging out with us, which is always a good thing. So what are you thinking about this?
I'm going to have to give this one to AFK. I think I think they're going to pull through.
Now, we have to address the fact that obviously we're going to be North American biased here a little bit, but to be fair, TRIG Esports is the #1 team coming out of Europe. They look very strong as well. Really, the main person you got to talk about here is going to be Xaylia, DM.
This guy has been incredible. Not only does he have the lowest deaths of any solo laner, but his god pool is insane. Barring Hades, he has a god pool that is equal to every other solo laner combined.
Yeah. That's going to be big. And then going up against him is going to be Cyclone Spin, which you've played a lot so far in Season 2, who Season 1, he was okay, but now we're going to really see him as we get ready to hop into the picks and bans. What do you think about Cyclone going into this?
I'm excited to see him play. He's been playing out of his mind the whole split.
All right, ready? Show me Hercules.
Don't you even how dare you take...
I'm clearly a better Family Feud host because I got that one right.
DM, I will drop kick you into a pool of McDonald's if you keep this up. So the bands come out here. This is going to be Athena and Isis, opposite side Hercules and Bacchus. Make no mistakes, the Isis is 100% a target ban.
So, well, speaking of 100%, that's the win ratio for Isis, as is Thanatos. So we could possibly see a Thanatos pick, but Bellona makes it through and immediately locked in. Now this has 2 places, jungle or solo.
I love the Bellona pick here. Like you said, she has 2 places to go, jungle or solo, and in both roles, she's astounding.
Yeah, me and Divios are kind of on the page that she's good in solo. She's not amazing. I think she's the best jungler, though, by a mile.
Really? Why is that, DM? Is it just because of the dynamic of the disarm for ganks?
I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing, is she can gank any lane. She can disarm. She has a ton of slows, especially if you have the heavy hammer. She doesn't super need Bumba's mask for the help on the clear because of how strong the hammer is. Yeah. I mean, she just has a ton of control. And then there's the ult at like a 55-second cooldown. I mean, she swings, man.
So looking over at the AFK side of things, Sylvanus has been picked up as well as Xbalanque. The dynamic of these two, Sylvanus pretty much guarantees you the win, Jeff. I know you play a lot of Sylvanus.
I love this, especially the Sylvanus and the Xbalanque together. How do you possibly fight that at mid-harpies? You can't see anything, and Sylvanus has one of the best initiations in the game.
Yeah. And now, as we're going to wait, that's going to be a Rama picked up as well. The big thing we really want to look for here is what is going to be the final pick for AFK as Bacchus gets locked in.
I love the Bacchus pick. Bacchus is by far my favorite support in the game, and I can't wait to see TRIG play it.
You love Bacchus just because you can contest all the objectives, right?
You can test all the objectives, including mid-harpies, and he deals a ton of damage.
Intoxicate is not a joke.
No.
It's not a joke move.
What?
Whoa.
What?
I did not see that coming at all. I have been watching them scrim, and I have not seen Nua whatsoever. Now, this is a god Kiki played a lot of back before she was changed. She plays a little bit afterwards, and this is a huge surprise. Wow.
I'm really shocked on this. And it's funny because going into this one, DM, we all 3 were talking, and we said, you know, if there's 2 gods you want to get your feet wet with in a tournament, if you're nervous, Ra in the mid.
Yeah.
And then Nua. It's guaranteed damage. But the problem is that it's going to take a while for her to come online.
That and her escapes are very poor. Now, this was AFK's go-to in the season 1 before Kiki was in the mid lane. This was Jerby's go-to. And it wound up being their downfall because she is one of the most easily ganked characters in the game. With that, Kiki has been very high in deaths, very low in kills. KDA not in his favor, but he has been very, very powerful in terms of utility. Now, here's something extremely interesting. We just saw, what was like 7th pick Thor?
Yeah, and we also saw it was a second ban phase for Serket. Weekend, who his logo is a stinger of a scorpion with poison. Yeah. Like, that's his main Weekend. If you guys aren't familiar with Weekend, he is a jungler who loves single target assassin. So with Thor, it's a little bit different.
Thanatos has not been picked up. Thanatos, their 100% win rate Thanatos has been foregone. Tyr and Ra get locked in for AFK, though. You gotta love it. Azalea going on to Tyr here, most likely. Bellona seems like it's going to be going into the jungle for Fred. And then Ra for Lobster, 100% win ratio.
I am loving TRIG's lineup right now. It's had a lot of burst.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What?
Ooh.
What is that?
Ullr. You said that wrong. You said that incorrectly.
Oh, no, this makes sense.
That's Xbalanque solo.
That's a Xbalanque solo, but on top of this, I just found out about this today on Reddit. So Ullr, if he gets silenced by Bellona, he can switch stances and actually auto-attack.
Get out of here.
Swear to God, because he switches from the bow, right? He goes from bow into axe stance, so he can auto-attack. I'm expecting this Ullr to go solo.
Oh.
Yeah, you see that?
That's, yes, mind-blowing.
I had no idea. That's incredible.
To be honest, Bart told me everything.
I was going to assume it's going to be Xbalanque solo because, I mean, Cyclone Spin played the hell out of Xbalanque in the 1v1.
All weekend.
3v3. I mean, that's all he's been doing.
How does this work, guys? So it's not really traditional at all that we see a Hunter in the solo lane. The only time we really saw it was at the beginning before Season 2, and Cyclone got rolled by Divios in that. Yeah. Do we see it working out?
Maybe because of what you said, but overall, I don't think the pick's that strong.
DM?
I don't know. I mean, I think the whole pick lineup was crazy. I mean, they have double Hunter going up against Bellona. I mean, even with the stance switch, if you get that bow taken away, now can he switch and then switch back and get the bow back? Or
I don't think so.
Still
I think the duration stays there throughout that time, but for the most part, as soon as he switches, he'll be able to go. So
she does want to be in melee range, but if she scourges him, she could outdistance. Remember, there is a 4-foot dead zone that players will get locked in, especially if she has heavy hammer. She can lock him in there. Between the passive and the slow, Cyclone Spin on Ullr. You called it, Gandhi.
Yeah. Nice. Well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is the first game of the spring finals. We have TRIG taking on AFK Gaming, and we are underway. Guys, off the beginning, we are going to be seeing a 5-man grouping for TRIG going straight into the speed buff area of AFK.
Trix is not going to be spotted, but the rest of the team will. They have all wound up walking into the ward now, but they get a ward down safely on the top side. Cyclone Spin and Weaken here on the top side will be caught.
And so going down now, Jeff, when you do this 5-man grouping, are you looking to invade? Are you looking to just get wards down? Walk me through the thought process.
So with Trig's comp, I think they're looking to fight, maybe get a first blood because you have the Bacchus initiation. That's one of the best level 1 initiations there are, but a lot of times it's just to get the ward.
No, that's just because the belly flop is so strong, right? Because knockup
strong.
is just impossible to deal with, and no one's getting beads early on.
Yeah, exactly.
So it would make sense for them to invade.
Speaking of invades, I think they're going to go for this. Now, Cubo Fred has opted into Bumba's Mask in hand 2, and it looks like they're going to be spotted. They're just going to double hand this one cleanly. They're just going to go for it.
Double hand will go down, though. Will they continue the fight? Oh, barely misses the stun there, as Weaken's just going to try to bully Cubo Fred out of this one as well. And that is going to be a jungle Bellona as well. So we will be seeing Zalia on the tier. DM, walk me through a little bit this Ullr versus tier matchup.
Honestly, it's not going to be too bad in either direction. What it comes down to is gank potential. Zalia is going to wind up being very safe, a ton of clear, and of course, a ridiculous amount of sustain. Bellona has a decent amount of shutdown. Cyclone Spin has 2 major escapes. Glory Bound, right, which is going to make sure that he can jump away, and then, of course, a movement speed increase when he's in axe stance. But if he gets caught by Eagle's Rally off his jump, he is going to be a sitting duck, so I'm going to expect some early beads coming out.
I do want to talk about how Cyclone is, he's level 1, and he's playing this matchup fantastically. He's hitting all of his autos, and he's stopping the aggression from the level 2s.
Weaken's in trouble here. He's taking a lot of damage. Beautiful shot, though. Going to get one, not the other. And with that, Cubo Fred's going to take a step back. Weaken should have a big advantage on his rotation here. I'm expecting that back camps, at least on the blue side, are going to go to red.
Now, one thing to make note of is that Ullr is very mana dependent as well. That's why you're going to be seeing the Bluestone pendant come out on him. Oh, actually, no, he didn't. He went Death's Toll.
Yeah, look at this guy. Look at Weaken. What's he doing?
I think
he's just going to walk back in for experience. Oh, wow. Look at this. Cubo Fred assumes that the back camps were taken, so he actually just winds up backing cleanly. That's kind of a drop there for Weaken because he just took a lot of experience away from Cyclone, but they're going to make up for it by taking the jungle back.
Now switching over into the duo lane here. Bacchus and Rama shoved all the way under tower. Jeff, tell me, when you're playing Sylvanus, is it that easy to control the lane?
Yeah, Sylvanus generally wins the lane by himself, and he has a Xbalanque too. So he's getting Xbalanque through the early lane phase, and Xbalanque's just going to snowball after that.
Right, I mean, this is exactly where Rama is supposed to shine. He has the wave clear, but when you put it up against purple buff, auto attack AoE Sylvanus, he's able to outpush it and allow Xbalanque, who normally suffers at this stage of the game, to get towards that mid game when he's really going to start to be strong.
Now, one thing I want to ask is, coming into this event, we all kind of wondered, is it good for the support to get that early kill? Is it worth it, right? Does it take away from the hunter? Now, you have Xbalanque and you have Sylvanus. With gold being very hard to come by for Sylvanus, is it better that he gets the kill, or is it better for Xbalanque?
So this is one of the weird situations where Xbalanque's one of the, his passive is one of the only passives in the game, if not the only, that, just straight benefits off kills. And he gets stronger as it goes on. But the 400 gold you get from First Blood, it's so invaluable for supports.
Yeah. Oh, Kiki's going to take some damage here. We do have a grouping in the jungle towards the mid camps as well. Trix tank pushed out. That one's going to, looks like, yeah, go to the boys in red. Small win there. Now, we do have a rotation. Eyes on Zalia. Kiki could be in some trouble here.
Wow, Raw Beam actually hit as well. Up into the fire charge as well. He dodges that. Wow. Great play from Kiki using the cloud. He goes invisible for a duration as long as he is in there and is not singled out. They win the mid-Harpies battles, and right side actually is going to be going to Cyclone as well. Will they be able to get this? They are. That is an experience advantage for AFK.
Yeah, really beautiful start here from AFK. Not only getting Kiki out of danger there, but maybe not fully because the Eagles rally's coming out there. Incon ready to control. Yeah, the Scourge not going to do enough. Cuvo going to use his ult, not gain anything out of it.
Funballer's going to be able to take out Allied there as he's going to be cleaned up in the duo lane. We missed that one, but that is going to be the first blood, 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That's not something we're used to seeing from Europe.
Actually, it's not something that we're used to seeing from TRIG at all, considering they actually have the lowest amount of first bloods in the SPL, tied with enemy Esports.
So looking at it here, as we are just going to watch Cyclone kind of body this tier. Tier was able to switch stance. He does have some sustain in his kit. As long as he switches stances to defensive side, he can heal off of the wave or enemy gods. So he's really annoying to deal with. But on the other side, I mean, Cyclone Spin, he's going straight into Transcendence, which is going to help him with mana as well as power, Jeff.
I love the Transcendence here. Cyclone's known for building Transcendence on a lot of his assassins, and I don't see why he changed it up for Ullr. It does great for the god.
I mean, it's probably one of the reasons he was sustaining in lane for so long. I mean, he has played this beautifully. Like we talked about earlier, one of the most mana-dependent gods, and he got through the solo laning phase against tier Bellona without a blue buff. That's incredible.
Yes.
Now, DM, Allied, you said he's your favorite hunter going into the split. He gives up first blood. Are you surprised?
How
is he on tilt? You know this guy better than anyone.
Allied's like, it was a 2v1. We got both mid camps off it. It's going to hurt, but it was definitely big. Speaking of big, though, we're going to have a rotation. Lobster's in some trouble here, stuck between the wall.
Oh, no.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Lobster just makes Weaken eat a pain. Oh, the raw beam going straight to his face. It looked good for a bit, but that was not good for the boys of AFK.
That was a beautiful turn from Lobster. He knew exactly how much that raw heal was going to go up, and with Thor not hitting the double tap on his hammer, he knew that he could sustain it.
Bacchus is going to be in the jungle. He's by red. Intoxicate goes down. Kiki goes down as well. Funballer gets one. Looking for a second. And now he's going to rotate out. Spots a Xbalanque. This is going to be Allied. Allied in the 1v1. Forces him into the ult. He's got Incon here as well. The full rotation, though, coming out of TRIG Esports. Allied in a lot of trouble. Weaken's able to get one. Now the boys from TRIG will rotate out.
You know, not a great trade there for AFK. I mean, getting a kill is big onto the Hunter, but the issue is that the Hunter himself got a kill. Rama going to be way ahead now. He is at 3,600 gold. This is insanely high at this stage of the game.
It's important to note as well that Allied is not an early game Hunter in the least. He is a wait for 30 minutes and then he comes alive. But at this rate, Jeff, do you think he can even make it to 30 minutes?
I think he can make it to 30 minutes. If you look at the gold differential, it's only about 200. That's not that big of a deal. I see what you're saying with the Hunter disparity, but I think he'll pull through.
It's been the mid-camp game so far, but it looks like TRIG's going to be able to get this round. No, not even really a big contest here. Incon's going to rotate over, but he's way too late.
Mid-Harpies, right side will go to TRIG. Left side as well. Lobster now is just going to clear this up. Lobster, one thing as we were going into this, we said Lobster, he's 6-6 with Ra throughout the SPL.
Has not lost.
How do you play against a Ra who's this good?
I mean, it's always been hard. Ra has been a staple in this game since Alpha, right? I mean, he's always had a ton of healing, a ton of damage, and if you're smart about the passive, a ton of movement. He's actually, despite the fact that he doesn't have a jump or leap, one of the hardest characters to gank, especially if you build him with a little bit of tankiness. It's possible that we'll see that route as well. Now, we do have, it looks like, a Chronos Pendant coming out. The Restored Artifact has just got started, so he's about 500 gold away, and he's chosen that route instead of finishing the boots here, which is not something we normally see.
Is he going to go full utility here? Is that the plan?
I would assume so. I mean, he's always done like the Lotus Crown kind of half tank, half mage thing, and it's always worked out for him. You cannot argue with success.
Zelia now pushing up. He's one level behind Cyclone Spin. Cyclone Spin hasn't been able to find a kill, and this player has done so well throughout the first split. Most kills throughout all of the SPL.
But he's also fighting a player who has had the least deaths in the solo lane, and that's Zelia. Zelia is not going to be a player who's going to put himself in a position like Cyclone is used to. Cyclone is used to fighting aggressive North Americans. Zelia is used to camping this lane until it's time to fight.
I think Cyclone's also pretty okay with farming this lane out. As you can see, he's a hunter. He's looking for late game, and he's stacking still. So.
Oh, that's a really good point. I mean, the Transcendence only has 21 stacks on it, not into his second item. If I were to venture a guess, second item could even be Death's Toll.
Dude, get this, right? So we're talking about how Funballer's so far ahead of Allied.
Right.
He's really not. He's up 100 gold because he hasn't been farming. Allied's just sitting in lane saying, okay, you know what? You want to kill me? Whatever, bro. Whatever.
And
I'll make the difference up
look
in
at
creeps.
the stacks. There's a 4-stack difference.
Cubo Fred comes in on the rotation, and now Xbalanque Ultimate will stop that engagement. If you're moving when that last piece is there, you will be stunned.
That might have been a lack of communication there coming out from AFK. There really wasn't any threat of death with Incon there with his ultimate up, and TRIG was nowhere near ready to fight that battle. He was rotating out of mid lane. Allied, maybe not on tilt yet, but he's definitely a bit more paranoid than you would expect.
Which I think that might be the right call. Jeff, when you're in the duo lane and you're down a kill, is it hard to play aggressive still, or is it like, oh, I gotta play safe?
It's pretty hard to play aggressive. I do like the ult, though. It just stops all form of aggressions. Xbalanque's ult's one of the best in the game at doing that.
Now, as we move forward here, this next set of Harpies will be getting ready to come up. Normally around the 9-minute mark. Whoever wins the Harpies normally forces an engagement, and then we see a Gold Fury be taken. How important is it?
This is insanely important. The mid-harp, I think the Harpy fights are going to go in Trig's favor this time, because if you look, Bacchus went power boots and he's 9. Oof. That means he has a giant damage spike. Bacchus is his biggest part, or 9 is his biggest spike.
Weekend is set up here on the right side, but he's actually going to give up control of the mid camps for a possible rotation. It looks like he just wants to get this blue buff down as fast as possible. Cyclone needs this desperately. You can see Cyclone low on health, low on mana, needs some form of sustain, and this is going to help him more than anything.
Cyclone is their carry. They need Cyclone to get involved in this game as soon as possible. Throughout SPL, we've seen him run Bastetts. We've seen him run very mobile gods so he can rotate. Ullr's in the same boat, but he also has to worry about getting the stacks.
That's right. Well, he's almost stacked up on the Transcendence. He's just about done. We haven't seen him go back in a while. It looks like he's going to take his first opportunity here. He has only about 1,700 gold in hand, so that's likely going to be, boots. Warrior tab is going to be finished, and I definitely agree.
Yep. Xbalanque sitting on 1,800 gold in here. Xaylia also 1,400 as well. Allied will be able to go back and get himself a nice pair of boots, obviously. And then what else are you going to buy after Death Gloves, right? There's only one Hunter build, let's be honest, guys.
Allied's about 200 gold behind, but he has more than enough to go boots as well. Now, he could decide to go into, the K build, which is going to be Heartseeker into Fatalis. It is a possibility, albeit a bit unlikely. We haven't seen that build too much from North America.
Now, TRIG finally clearing out the wards right around Gold Fury. They're trying to make a little bit of a... trying to bait him, maybe, Jeff?
Yeah, they're probably looking for a bait, but it's definitely not, they're not looking for gold itself.
Yeah. Kiki right now over a level behind Lobster. Lobster level 12. 13 is when he's really going to want to look to that fight. That's what he's going to have level 3 Searing Pain, going to add another 75 damage on top. And that's going to make him very, very scary in any engagement that's going to force people out of chokes. And most notably, Gold Fury. Coming out of mid or coming out of lane from left is going to ensure that you walk through a point where Lobster's guaranteeing himself damage.
This is very different than what we're used to as well. This is a best of 5, guys.
That's right.
I don't even think I touched on that yet, but this is a best of 5. There is a lot that can happen, especially with adaptation. But as Cubo Fred is looking here, Weekend's going to spot Cubo. He's going to be silenced. Berserker Barrage comes out. He's going to shred him through. He's got the help from Kiki. Kiki's going to miss the shiny metal. They're going to get out of this one.
Man, Bludgeon is not a joke. Like,
no. It really isn't.
Oh my god. Remember, it increases in damage for every god that is hit by the spin. And right there, I mean, it's just one god. It's still an increase. But Kiki going to go into the air, baited out by Trix Tank. And then the lob heal is going to actually heal for way more damage than Kiki was able to do.
Kiki seems like he's very scared at this point. It was just Bacchus bounce that forced his ult.
I mean, he should be scared, right?
Yeah,
They're ganking him a lot.
Gold Fury started up. Xbalanque ults here. Incon comes in. AFK steals the Gold Fury.
Beautiful.
Out comes Trig, forcing Funballer into the sky. He's looking for the final shot. He barely is off the target. Allied gets a kill. Still pushing forward is AFK. Xaylia gets 1. Xaylia gets 2. He's still alive. Look at his health. He has so much sustain. Cyclone waiting for the axe stun. He's still going to chase him down, and now will he be deterred here? And he's going to get the stun. Look at the explosion! Cyclone spin destroys him!
He's not done yet. Cyclone continues the path right down. He's going to get stunned out, and he does immediately switch over and throw down the movement speed increase, but he's going to back out. Invigorate, not quite quick enough, but they're going to find a 3 for 2 with a kill on Xbalanque, adding 5 damage, and the Gold Fury.
I want to talk about how this fight started. It was the Xbalanque ult, Incon's blink in, and then Incon's ult with Weekend's ult to steal gold.
Yep.
That was beautifully communicated and executed flawlessly.
Incon is a player, bro.
It looked to me that wasn't one of those steals you're like, wow, they actually got that. That was ours from the beginning. Don't do it again.
I completely agree.
Dude, that just gave me chills. Incon, he's been very quiet. And the one thing I was really wondering how Europe would do is handle against Incon.
What that to me was Weekend saying, look, Andy, it's not that hard.
Oh, yeah.
Thor dunk Xbalanque.
If you guys aren't sure about this inside joke, Andy 4-man dunked on AFK and just destroyed.
Gnarly. It actually almost cost them the set overall because that was the one game that they did lose. Rip Jeff.
Yep.
Rip Jeff.
Rip Jeff. Taking a look here at Bellona. She's got Ikavol.
Love it.
And now it looks as though she will be going into a Runeforged Hammer.
It's possible. It could be Frostbound, man. Frostbound's no joke. 300 health in this patch. Slows on his auto attacks, plus attack speed reduction is going to make him much stronger at fighting the 2 hunters. But there's also 2 hunters, and there's a physical jungler, meaning Runeforge's physical defense is going to work as well. Either way, this tree was the right tree to go into.
The double tap was good on TRIG. TRIG going for the push there. Siri Payne's going to hit on Weekend. Weekend's forced out of this one. Kiki in a bad spot. Kiki's going to get chased down here. Forced into the Nuwa ult. Doesn't do a lot just yet, but it does keep him alive. Soon, those things will hurt.
That to me right there, that was TRIG. They may not have gotten a kill, but Lobster started that ult right as Trix Tank went in. There was 100% trust in that. And that's what's going to make or break a team as we get later into the splits and going into Worlds. It's chemistry.
I think you're going to see this out of almost every Bacchus flop. You're going to see a raw ult that immediately follows it up.
Oh, whoa. Kiki staying alive there. There comes Weekend. They're all looking 100% at Lobster, but there comes a huge Eagles rally. Wow. And then Trix Tank going to find the kill. Just circles on circles on circles. Incon barely going to escape here. Cuba one hit, and Cyclone's going to find it.
Cyclone got that one. It's not done, though. Zelia still pushing forward. Cyclone shooting. He doesn't miss autos, ladies and gentlemen. Pushes it. Still aggressing forward. Will he be able to get it? Barely off the target there. Oh, Bear. Oh, my God. This guy's crazy. He's swinging for the fences.
He has no chill. Cyclone is just not letting them rest. And despite the fact that that was clearly a disadvantage for AFK, they wind up coming out even in that engagement. And in my opinion, maybe even a little bit ahead considering Weekend doesn't have the level advantage.
Whew. That is a play from Cyclone. He is trying to do everything he can to win this one, Jeff.
Cyclone is so far ahead right now. He has 3 kills and he has 2 levels on the enemy solo laner. And he's a hunter.
Yeah,
he's just going to keep snowballing.
I mean, that's one thing. You go to solo to farm and you have a tier at level 15 comparatively to a 17 Ullr. I mean, you don't want to mess with that. I mean, Xbalanque is only 14, but Cyclone's going to be able to bridge that gap for Allied to make sure he can get to the end game.
We can now pushing forward. They're going to go ahead and clear through this first wave. Ra will get here as well. Now, with Bacchus going the power boots, it kind of frees Ra up to do a little bit more utility, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah? So they're not looking for him to really do the big magical burst. They're looking for him more for, throwing heals down, right, DM?
Yeah, and we're also going to have a great front line. As Gandhi called, it will be a Runeforge hammer coming out from Bellona. So they're going to have a very serious front line. And this is a really weird dynamic because they're going to have tanky Bellona, tanky Tier, tanky Bacchus with healing behind them versus Hunter, carry, and Thor stuns, right? Incon is their only front line here unless Weekend decides to change the normal Thor build into 6 items of defense.
Here's my big question. You're going against a Nuwa. When you go against a Nuwa, she has free damage, then at some point in the game, it really starts to hurt. There is not a single Aegis on the side of TRIG Esports. Is this a misplay?
I'm going to leave that one to Jeff.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I don't think it's a misplay. You don't want, if you have to Aegis Nuwa's ult, something's probably not going right, in my opinion.
Cool. I mean, I want to see Heavenly Agilities, and that's what we got from Ra. I think Heavenly is one of the, if not the best active in the game. It's just 6 seconds of slow immunity, but we're going to get towards the goal fury here. Let's take a listen to what AFK is talking about as they try for their second one of the game.
I'm here.
Let's go.
Yes!
Let's go.
Hey.
Stunning Thor.
I have no vision.
Healing. I rooted Bellona. You guys see Rama in the air.
Rama's in the air. Watch out for shit. Careful.
You're in.
By yourself.
Really low.
By yourself. Come to me.
I'm here.
Can you get to me?
Oh, bro.
Rama's there.
Rama's really low. I'm rooting him. They're really, really low.
Help me
I
with
got
the
Ullr.
nice pull, dude.
No, I got Lava. Hop in the back with
Rom dash, he's still on Allied.
You see,
Bellona on the side.
he's low as
Careful.
fuck, but he's gonna life
Damn.
still off you. Unless you
I'm
here.
here.
Watch out.
Watch for the bottom.
He can fuck you. Yeah, careful. Don't die. Don't die. He's gonna life still.
Still around. Yeah. He's gonna shove left. He's still shoving left.
God damn it, Bacchus is gonna kill me.
Yeah. They want gold. No, he's not gonna kill. He is chasing you, actually.
They're on gold.
Kinda
On
like
gold. Just let him do it.
They're really
so
low.
low.
Not let him. Dude,
I'm up
not
at
do that over free.
I'm up at
No, I'm not. Good job.
Tears mid.
He missed Bob up. He's doing. The tear's back.
care.
Tears coming behind you.
The Bacchus is coming now.
Tier.
Blink,
Good blink. Good blink. Let's tier blink down.
Quick
Let's
force
tier
gold.
blink.
I'm good.
Yeah, we got him. Up and none.
I'll be there.
Tears
I
here.
vault in 10.
Bacchus is backing. He stayed.
Kiki needs the
No, he
back.
back, he
in a
back.
hurry.
Tier back.
Can we do it?
Yeah.
There's two backing. They
I
all
have a
back.
sentry. I have a sentry. Do you have a sentry?
I'm sentrying. I sentryed.
Okay.
They're coming over.
Gotta burn it now.
You guys have to
Gotta burn
damage.
it.
I'm backing.
Hey, where's Bacchus? They
back.
all back. We have to do it right now.
Check
Blow
fire.
up,
Check
blow up,
fire.
blow
Check
up,
fire.
blow up.
Got us.
Okay, I'm going.
Good fucking job. Yep, go check it. Go check it.
I'm going.
They all back.
Okay, so what just happened? They AFK lost that fight in 2 different lanes. Incon, though, doing a great job dodging a ton of fun balls damage, baiting himself in. They recognize they can't do it. They wind up backing. All of TRIG backed?
Everyone from AFK noticed it, and they all communicated it perfectly. The call was, I'm going to come back up. Let's do Gold Fury. Let's do Gold Fury. Bacchus is backing, Tier is backing, and that's exactly what you want to hear.
I mean, I just don't understand how everyone on TRIG thought it was okay for them to just leave the Gold Fury alone after a fight like that. And with that, AFK might have lost the fight, but they're going to win the small battle there. And with that, the gold difference as well. Kevin, let's bring up the charts here. Oh, no, we can't. There's a fight. Kiki's in trouble.
Kiki up to the sky here. Weekends come crashing down. He's got a 3-man stun. Berserker Barrage is good. He's just trying to peel for his teammates, which he did. Cyclone's pushing in, as well as Allied. Allied now still just doing the best he can here, as now Fun Baller's a little bit slow in the rotation, but fortunately he will be able to get it.
Now, here's the problem with Nuwa when she gets later into the game. They committed so much to kill her. Blink, Tiers 1, and Bacchus jump, and Bacchus ult, and they didn't pick her up. And they got punished really hard for it.
4-man grouping here in mid, DM.
I'm loving the builds coming out from AFK. You see the Executioner coming out on Ullr, and you see the Iqbal coming out on Xbalanque. They're making sure they're not overcapping or overstacking on things that they won't repeatedly accept, right? This is a beautiful use of communication and build. Comparatively across the way, we're going to have 2 Iqbals and no Executioners, and at least not yet. We do have one being built onto Funball.
Lotus Crown getting ready to go up here on Raw. He's got the Tier 1, Rune Forged on Bellona as well. And now this Aussie pickup on Ullr.
Yeah.
Do we like it? Do we hate it? DM? Jeff?
I like it.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah?
A lot of
How
attack
come we
speed.
never see it get built, though?
I've been trying to tell Barra to build Aussie. first 6 items. I think Aussie's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's 30% attack speed, which is going to be great for Ullr. 15 penetration off the fact that he has Transcendence, which means he already has a lot of damage. It's filling in the blanks very well instead of trying to over-push in one stat.
Oh, look at this rotation, though. Weekend moving over into the solo side of things, as well as Incon. They're trying to get a steal here, but Zalia was too fast. He's got the blue. They're also going to take the speed. Do they know he's there is the question. Zalia pushed up. Zalia could be in a lot of trouble here. He misses the tectonic rift, and now in comes Bacchus for the counter initiate.
Bacchus actually didn't get the belly flop there, which means he didn't break the Magi's. Some damage off from Kiki, but Lobster's going to make sure his team is right as rain here.
You know, I really think Kiki pulled that ultimate just for vision. 1v1, Allied versus Fun Baller. He's got to hit the autos. He put it down there. Fun Baller's still staying alive. He's in the ult. And now look at this. He's dodging it. Fun Baller's in a lot of trouble when he lands. And Allied's going to be able to win the one-on-one.
He didn't shoot. He got caught looking. Strike 3, and he's out of there. Fun Ball's going to take a really long respawn.
Mid lane push here as well. Weekend's got one under the tower. Raw's going to be there. Raw's going to hit the snipe. And it's still going to continue to push forward. Eagles Rally still on board here as Celestial Beam will be just off the mark.
So taking a look against the builds one more time, I love the fact that we're getting the Sovereignty come out, right? Immediately from Bacchus. Heartward's coming out as well. And then the Lotus Crown coming out on Ra. On the other side, Heartward's not quite done yet. We have the Sovereignty already built. So there's a decent amount, but There's a heart ward on tier right now, which means they have this. There doesn't need to be another heart ward. I'm assuming that Trixtank is going to build this into a Bulwark of Hope.
I think he's going to leave it off for, not build anything for a little bit, and he's just going to
leave it at 2.
He's going to leave it at 2. Silver Talisman is one of the best rank 2 items for supports there are.
Super cost effective. Kind of like how we saw Draining Blade in Season 1. We see Heart Ward now, Heavy Hammer. There's plenty of items in the game that do a great job at Tier 2. And like Jeff said, if Trix wants to be cost effective, leaving it there and moving on might be a great pick.
So Allied takes the dual link tower. He beats Funballer to that. What does that free up, Jeff? When you get that Tier 1 in the dual lane, what now happens to the dynamic of the game?
The enemy hunter has to play very far back because he can't be up that far. Normally that means you have map pressure on that side of the map, and your jungler can be anywhere. It means if he wants to push up, he needs a lot more wards.
Taking a look at the charts here, 3,900 gold difference, 3,000 experience. DM, it's not a huge lead, but it's a lead after all.
That's right. I mean, this is going to be enough gold to where they're going to start feeling the pain, right? This is going to make sure that if there's another Gold Fury or Fire Giant, there will be a decent advantage. Now you're taking a look at a level 20 Hunter right now with Cyclone Spin, Allied at level 19 as well, comparatively to Funball at 18. We already saw what Allied was able to do at an even level. Things are starting to turn in his favor for the first time this game, and then they still have Thor for all of that support from the back, Tectonic Rift, Anvil of Dawn. They don't have the healing, however. They're not going to have the same level of sustainability, which means they're going to look to close out fights very quickly.
They're not trying to burn this down here, guys. Make no mistake, they are trying to bait this fight. Tectonic Rift just off the mark. Allied now rotating around the Gold Fury.
I always love I miss Tectonic Rift and turn around and run away. Like, 8 seconds,
guys. I'm screwed. Bacchus knock up is going to be a little bit off the target there. Funballer and Lobster all the way out. Lobster's going to stay alive. Shout outs to the Lotus Crown, doing everything possible. The pole's going to get hit as well. Do they have the burst damage? No, they don't. Rune Forged is too strong.
Cubo will be able to get out safely. Still had Eagles Rally as well, but beautiful use of Clay minions there ensures they get the backdoor protections off the tower, and it stays that way. AFK is going to turn their sights now to the Gold Fury.
I love the shove mid tower and then do gold. That a lot of teams wouldn't have shoved tower. They would have just went straight to gold.
Why do you love it?
It's free. It was 100% free.
Whoa, did you guys just see that double tap just tickle Cubo Fred?
Oh,
Zalia
yeah.
in the background as well, gonna push them off. Ally doing a lot of damage here though. Zalia has overcommitted to this fight and he will pay for it.
Down goes Zalia now. Weekend still looking. He goes right through the wall. Bacchus is gonna try to bail him out. Bacchus is gonna be taken down. Eagles Rally will be there as well. Cyclone Spin doing everything he can. Funballer picks up one. Where's gonna be the call? Cyclone gets another one. The 1v1 is amongst them, and now he's gonna switch. Chases him down. Hits the stun as well. Cyclone Spin is such a player.
No fear whatsoever, playing that entire fight from melee range. Cyclone Spin, Weaken, Incontinentia turning their sights right to FG.
This guy's a monster. He had free reign that entire fight, played it perfectly, and had no problem taking the aggressive stance. And now they get Fire Giant.
And they're doing it perfectly. Weaken really has done his homework now. They're going to get this FG quickly. All right, Jeff. 26 minutes in. They got 2 Gold Furies, a Fire Giant. They have 6K. They have 8K in experience. They're stripping the jungle. AFK is looking primed. How does TRIG find a way back into this? Because normally it's just they throw at Fire Giant.
TRIG is looking pretty grim here. They have to hold the towers. They have a Ra, they have a Bellona, and fighting inside those circles, that's going to be their key to victory.
So, I mean, then on the opposite side, the goal for AFK, pick Lobster as fast as they can. Incon's got to look for the pull on Lobby. After that, they've got to try to force out the Eagles Rally as a defensive measure. If they can get both of those points done, Cyclone Spin will be able to get back to the front line where he loves to be, and it's going to be easy peasy game 1.
I don't know if you guys looked at that player damage, but for those of you who don't know, Nuwa's ultimate is guaranteed to hit everyone on the enemy team.
Yep.
So Nuwa normally leads those charts guaranteed. But Cyclone has him beat by about 1,500. He is a hunter pre-30 minutes. That is impressive.
And all the while, right? All the while, in the back line, you see Incontinentia making sure his team can do this. Incon has played Nyan perfectly this game. Both Gold Fury fights have been flawless.
You can say that
by
twice.
The support.
So here it comes. The hold from TRIG Esports. Eyes are on the left Phoenix. Bacchus off a little bit to the right, trying to catch him off guard here. There's going to be a tier as well. Zalia trying to bait this up. They want him to come straight through. That's going to be that. Whoa.
I love Weekend there. He knew that he could take the belly flop if someone was hiding around the corner and escape cleanly. And subsequently, I even more love what Cubo Fred did. Scourge over the wall to strip away the Magi's, making sure that that entire strategy gets shut down. Either way, Tier 2 is going to go down. Trig cannot hold there.
I love what AFK is doing here. They're taking all the towers before they go Phoenix, because Trig really wants to hold their Phoenixes, but they don't want to commit on a Tier 2 tower, and they're making this free.
Weekend going to take a few shots, trade it out to Incon, is moving to the front line. It looks like Trig's going to try to engage on this. Belly flop, Intoxicate, both down. Stun not going to hit, taking a lot of damage. Eagles Rally is offensive. They're going right in. Funball already finds Incon. Zalia getting low, though. That's going to be a 1-for-1.
Yep, and now Weekend should be able to pick up another kill here. Cyclone gets one of himself. Newall takes to this guy, trying to make him weak. But at the end of the day, the siege is still amongst them. They're going to wait on the minions. They don't have Incon. He's been stellar in all of these team fights, but they do have to wait on the minions. That's going to be the Clay Soldiers, as now they will take out the Tier 2. The question is, do they back or not, Jeff?
I think they can continue the push.
Really?
Yeah.
You think?
That's what I was saying.
Wow, okay. I mean, like, that's the world champion speaking. I can't speak against it. I was calling retreat.
I think they could poke out. I think they can push a little bit. Their tier's down. Maybe it comes to no Phoenix, but maybe they get over-aggressive and they get a kill. I would like to see a little longer.
For me, it was like if the hunters stand anywhere near each other and both get disarmed, then it might be GG, right? I mean, they don't want to throw. I mean, if this was just a normal split game, I could see them going for it. But for this prize, for going to Brazil, I think safety, especially if you could say, Cyclone, no, just come on. Just Cyclone, no more. Just come back to base with me.
I don't even think it's about Brazil for AFK. I think it's just about the W. They have been overshadowed for so long.
Poor guys.
These guys.
Allied has been second or third place in everything since like Zatman and Pompon were on a team, right? He's always been the bridesmaid, the poor guy.
Yep. Incon now trying to get his team behind him. Thor's going to be there as well. All things told, it started off as Trig Esports was dominating everything. Lobster was playing fantastic. But one steal after another, Incon puts his team on the top.
So we only have about 10 more seconds of FG, right? Which means the next fight's going to be there. Everyone's going to just kind of hang out for a bit, try to poke out, see if they can get the FG safely. Just look for picks, right? In the meantime, Jeff, let's talk a little bit about the builds here. What's showing up to you?
I'm loving Weekend's build here. As you can see, Cyclone's doing a ton in these fights, and Weekend went into Magi's, into Spirit Robes, so he's looking...
Hold that thought. Look at Trickstick just get exploded.
That's the wrong way.
Wow.
Oh, Weekend not getting up into the air either. Lobster with a beautiful ultimate. Zalia, though, once again in trouble.
Aye.
And that's the new ult that you should be afraid of. Allies clean him one up. We're going to see in the front line. Oh, my God.
My Lord. Cubo Fred trying to run as fast as he can, but that's a Cyclone spin. He's like Michael Myers at this point.
Jeff,
down he goes.
That's game. It's 100% game. I mean, two ADCs that are going to smash the
Funball's still up. I mean, there's a little bit of defensive measure here, but I don't see how he's getting through with Incon still alive.
Incon now, he's going to carry the boys here. Funball trying to throw down the damage, but all the calls are focus the Phoenix. Let's take this game. Number 1, AFK puts it on the board, 1-0. Keep in mind, though, it is a best of 5. There is a lot that can happen, but wow. I did not think AFK was coming out on top on that one, boys.
I called it.
What do you have to say, Jeff? I mean, right off the bat. What do you got on that one?
Cyclone played lights out this game. It was insane. Not only that, the steal from Incon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
That was hot.
What's crazy is AFK was not in a good spot in the beginning. They got both mid camps, which was great. But then the first blood, as we're going to check out here, went to Trig. I mean, the game started off 0-2 in Trig's favor.
Yeah, Trig was looking very, very good throughout the entire duration of the game. And it really came down to this 1v1, which at the end of the game ended up favoring Allied. But look at this. Bacchus ends up just clearing him up there, and Funballer gets that kill. It is imperative for Hunters to get ahead early on. I mean, Funballer had that.
Trix had a good play there, but that came down to the roll into the cripple during the Rising Jaguar. It hit him just before the CC immunity started. And you know, in the beginning, I said Allied's probably not on tilt. I didn't get to see him cripple the Rising Jaguar. That would have hurt me real bad.
What do you do? That's the Achilles, right? He's like, oh, come on.
But, I mean, that was not the story for the entire show. It was all about AFK that game.
Yep. Well, we're going to go ahead and send it over to F. to break the game down a little bit further for us.
Thanks, Scott. I'm sitting here at the analyst desk right here with my man, Zapman. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. What a game.
Yeah, it really was exciting. I hope the rest of the weekend goes this way. I think it was a great starting point to really appetize and get ready for the weekend. So what we're going to take, we just took a look at First Blood over at the caster desk. We're going to take a look at map control later on today in a little bit, but not just yet. So why don't we talk a little bit about how that match started off with TRIG really on the gas pedal?
Yeah, TRIG got 3 early kills, but what they weren't doing were farming. Even though they had those 3 kills, they were still even in gold with AFK.
Yeah, they stayed even, and Cyclone Spin, really, I mean, the conversation has been about Cyclone Spin so much, but, I mean, he just proved it for good reason.
That's how you play Ullr, man. Ullr has 6 different cooldowns. It has a lot of playmaking potential, and Cyclone took full advantage of that.
Yeah, you've played a lot of Ullr in the Hunter role. This time we're seeing him move over to the solo lane, but you played Ullr in the Hunter role in Season 1, so you also had the blue buff. How similar is that to you?
It is. The blue buff is very important for Ullr. He has a lot of cooldowns, like I said, and uses a lot of mana. So having that blue buff is almost imperative for Ullr to have success in lane.
Yeah, speaking about that blue buff, let's take a look at the jungle control and see just how many of those blue buffs that he got. But first, let's take a look at the junglers. Weekend and Cubo Fred, 477 versus 493 GPM right there. Both these guys really had a good impact. I love the Thor plays.
Yeah, I think they both have kind of a supporty role in their teams there.
Right.
You know, they didn't do too much, but they set up a lot with Bellona Ultimate and Thor dunks that game.
Exactly. You know, you take a look at the stats across the board, and Weekend tends to be very average. But his play, as you said, it really supports the rest of the team. So it doesn't always show up in the numbers, but sometimes it's about those intangibles that really get you the win.
Right. He's really there to augment Cyclone Spin. You know, you get Cyclone Spins fed. You see what he can do with Ullr and skill champions like that. Skill gods like that. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see just how dynamic that Smite teams can be. You know, so a lot of teams. I think the default Smite team, when you think about it, is like Serket, Kali, gods that really in the jungle really assassinate and carry well. But you take a look at how both of these teams TRIG and AFK play, and the incredible carry comes out from Xaylia and Cyclone Spin. So they sort of have changed the way you expect the team to play, and more support comes in the jungle rather than the solo.
Yeah, I would like to say AFK has a different play style than most teams. They really rely on Cyclone to be their carry rather than their jungler, and you can see what he did in this game.
Yeah, definitely works out for the team from North America, and you know, TRIG started off well, as we said, but it went really, really well into their hands, and Cyclone Spin definitely earned his right to be player of the game. So that's who we're going to nominate as player of the game. We'll take a look at some of his plays right here on this Ullr. This is one of the earlier plays. Xaylia is doing very well, his opponent in the solo lane, but he's going to chase him after getting a kill himself, and here he comes. Nails. Wait for it. There it is. He gets rooted by the Nuwa, help from Kiki, and then just hits him with the bladed arrow.
Yeah, perfect play from Cyclone Spin. Barely missed any cooldowns there.
Right there. Big play from Bacchus, and you see the aggression from Cyclone Spin. This is really what he's known for. Hits the bladed arrow and keeps going. It's 1v3 in that situation, and he doesn't seem to back down at all.
That's how you play Ullr.
Just got to be super aggressive. And again, here he is stuck. Looks like a bad spot, but here comes Thor. That's the support you were talking about from Weekend. Just always coming in the nick of time. And here he is, Cyclone Spin, just to finish it up.
Yeah, Cyclone Spin just hitting all his auto attacks, hits his axe there, setting up for more damage from his teammates, and just cleans up here.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like to see out of Cyclone as we finish off this, that's the triple, and it goes to a quadra kill eventually. We're just going to shave that off, but one of the things I really like about it, and I want you to talk about this, is how often he uses the basic attacks in axe form.
Yeah, the axe form, like some people don't know, give you an extra 25% lifesteal, and that is huge. Coupled with the Aussie passive, you can make a lot of plays. So what I liked Cyclone, what he did there was he switched between bow stance and axe stance, getting the best from both.
Yeah, really utilize the character to the nth degree, which is really what you're looking for, especially with a stance switch character like Ullr. So being able to utilize both the power from the bow stance and the lifesteal from the axe stance really nailed it well. And you know, I don't want to say I'm surprised, but it's so exciting to see a solo laner nail the long range combos of the hail of arrows, etc. Because those are some hard abilities to hit.
Right, most solo lane gods like Hercules and Tyr, they're not too skill intensive, but a god like Ullr is, and Cyclone's been really showed off his stuff.
I'm just putting it out there. Zapman is Hunter player for Team Eager, not Warrior and the solo lane player. I don't know if I'd call Hercules and Tyr easy, but maybe you're a little biased there.
Hunters are hard, okay.
Especially late game?
Oh yeah, we barely crit.
I liked the fact that Cyclone built a little different than you normally see a traditional Hunter build. He built that Aussie, as you mentioned.
Right, I think he built that because he was in the solo lane. He was going to be able to farm and know he can get to his Aussie without taking too much poke from outside forces.
Yeah, definitely a little bit a little couple of things to really watch out for. Cyclone Spin, not just the only thing, also his Ullr, and he wins player of the game. So for Zapman and us, we're going to throw it back to the casters. Let's see you at the desk.